Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Moving Forms LinkedIn Live session, episode 114. Today, we have the honor of having Madhulika Sanghavi, sales leader, LinkedIn top voice, Glanter 50 under 50 2024 member, and CXO incubator member also. Today we are talking on the topic of write your way to clarity, how writing shapes who you are. Without further ado, let's have Sangvi on to our podcast event. Hi, Madhulika Sangvi. Good evening. Welcome to our podcast.
Hi, Prem. Good evening. It's an absolute delight to be here. And thank you for the opportunity. I'm quite excited.
Yes, welcome, Madhulika. It is a pleasure having you on our event. Let's deep dive into our podcast today. What inspired you to focus on the intersection of writing and personal clarity?
Wow, Prem. I think we've all had the journey of writing as kids, right?
Hmm.
When we were kids, we had no choice but to write,
Yeah.
right? And it all starts very early for us, somewhere in kindergarten, and
Mhm.
where we are learning how to write the basic alphabets. And then as we grow, we go to grades 2, 3, 4, 5, and then middle school and senior school. And writing is such a crucial part of our entire journey, in schooling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as we grow into adults, how many of us are really, you know, uh, thinking of writing or utilizing writing as a skill, as a tool in our entire lives to grow, to shape our own selves? Is it? Don't you think it's something that's quite rare these days?
No, we forgot writing actually.
Absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
At times when you put your signature, our signature is going bad because
Yes.
we are used to typing so much, and we are more becoming a copy and paste kind of a crowd or audience today. And
Correct.
our handwriting, we forgot our handwriting at times. If you really ask me, that's what is my view.
I absolutely agree with you, Prem. Yeah. So writing has had a special place for me over the last few years. I was a little bit of a mess because of all the responsibilities I had to deal with as a mother
Mhm.
of three, plus a
Okay.
full time working professional as well. And over the last 6 to 7 years, for me, my life has been very, very intense because I jumped back into my career full time and wanted to take my ambitions, my dreams to a different level. Okay,
Mhm.
while balancing out my role as a mother, a wife, as a daughter as well. Okay, so this is when I started realizing that I was very confused. And as you know, life does shift or move past us very, very quickly, right? So
Yeah.
we've been through a lot of ups and downs, each of us in our own personal journeys, and even some of us in our professional journeys, right? Life is never a straight line.
Yeah.
And during COVID, a lot of us realized that we had some time to ourselves. What do we do with that time? How do we figure ourselves out? So people got into self evaluation, self awareness, health, right? People discovered their passions, their hobbies during the COVID years when they were working from home, right? So something similar happened to me. I was seeking a lot of questions, and I was seeking for the answers to those questions. What do I do? What am I born for? What is my purpose? Who am I? And at that point, right, because of bringing up three children, somewhere I think a mother's identity becomes a lot about her child or her kids, right? And especially if you have taken a break or a sabbatical from your full time career. And that's when I realized that I need to find myself again, my self identity. I really didn't know who I was. Okay, so I loved being identified through my children, but I think I am pretty much an individualistic human being too, alongside. And that's when I kind of read somewhere about journaling and gratitude writing. I came across something on Facebook, I think, and I was kind of curious about it. And that's when I started reading about it. What is journaling? Is it just making scrapbooks, putting some pictures together, or is it something more serious than that? Is it something more impactful than that? And that's how I stumbled upon the journey of personal writing. And as I adapted to it on a daily basis, I started realizing that I'm coming alive. Okay, I started discovering myself again. And that's how my entire journey of writing actually started. Okay, and since then, so this was about 7 years. Sorry, this was in 2020 when COVID started. So about 4 years back. Yeah, I'm unable to hear you, Prem.
I was sorry. I was reading a article somewhere on LinkedIn itself where it said writing or journaling is one thing which is very difficult when we start. And sometimes
Yes.
when you write, you tend, I have to list out, then do them, then say it is to be tick that is completed or this one, and recheck whether that was done with what I had in mind. And that is a painful point when you do journaling. And journaling over a period becomes a kind of a history for you to say, what did I do and how is this shaping our own journey in a day. Plus, when we look at about a month or a year, you'll see so much of memories that you carry, saying that this was done on this day. You bring up most of the things when you journal it. What do you think about it, Madhulika?
Absolutely with you on this. Journaling is not really easy. Okay. One of the things which I believe stops us all from being very authentic, even when we are journaling in our personal notes,
Hmm.
is judgment,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And it's just also creating a great habit on a daily basis. Journaling, something like journaling, just like exercise or eating healthy food, is a positive habit to create on a daily basis, right? It needs some discipline. Okay,
Yeah.
there will be days when you don't want to do it. There will be days you might want to prioritize something else. Okay, but I think it really works very well when we do it on a regular basis, on a daily basis as a habit. Okay, so as we start inculcating it as a habit, is what I learned, it starts becoming very easy. It
Hmm.
starts becoming a part of you, right?
Yeah.
So anything new that is started is difficult in the beginning because you don't really know what to do. Are there any rules around journaling?
Yeah.
Is there a perfect way to be filling in information in your journal? I don't think there's a perfect way.
Yeah.
A journal is nothing but a conversation between you
And
and
yourself.
yourself. Okay, and you're writing in a book, in a diary, and the diary is not judging you, and that's the beauty of it. We
Yes.
humans have such a challenge of fear of judgment. Each of us has it in some form or the other, isn't it, Prem? Okay, but when we write our deepest darkest thoughts, or even the happiest thoughts, the most difficult challenges that we have, or even the most happiest of celebrations, dreams, in a journal, the journal doesn't judge us back. It's a silent spectator. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there
it's a
was
conversation that you're having with yourself, and it becomes easier over a period of time the more you practice.
there was something where I was reading saying that people don't judge you, they know, something like that. I'm not able to get the
Okay.
yeah, something like that. When they don't think or something like that, and they say that's when they judge you. Kind of. That's a quote that I'll find out and let you know while we finished
That will
while
be interesting to
doing
know.
that. On a professional journey front, how can people use writing as a tool to self-discovery and personal growth? Can we look or have some kind of a tips that can help people to look at their professional journey on writing?
I think, to all our audience, whoever has joined today,
Hmm.
I think writing can help unlock your professional journey. But
Okay.
before we jump into that, Prem, I think what we the first steps to any self-awareness journey, whether it's personal or professional, is understanding our own selves really well.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and we have a lot of noise in our minds, right, in our brains. There's always something happen. Oh, I need to do this now. Oh, that's something I need to take care of, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you're constantly juggling your thoughts in the moment between your work and your personal life. Okay, it
Hmm.
happens whether we like it or no. Maybe we do get a break when we are at work from our personal thoughts, what goes
Hmm.
on at home, and
Hmm.
vice versa. Okay.
Okay.
But on a daily basis, our brains process God knows how many thousands and thousands of thoughts, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea is to become so self-aware, okay, that it starts helping you take a jump in your professional life as well. Very often in our professional roles, we just go along with the flow. A certain role is defined to us. Okay. We look forward to promotion every few years. We put
Hmm.
in our best efforts over those 2, 3 years, and then we look forward to a promotion or a new role or moving to a new company, right? That's the general career path most people do take. But the minute we start writing, is what I observed, right? You start looking at your own development, your own journey. You start becoming aware of who you are. What is your
Hmm.
purpose? What are your shortcomings? What are your strengths? What is it that that makes you really happy?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So, and this takes months, sometimes even years. I don't think this is something which evolves over a day or two. Okay. Now, there are some people who are more self aware than others, and they might catch on very, very quickly to who they are and what they need to do, right? What are the next steps for them?
Hmm.
So, knowing yourself personally can unlock your professional journey, I believe, I strongly believe this, in an amazing way. The minute we come to know ourselves, our strengths, we know what we need to take a jump into and where are the boundaries that we need to draw as well. Correct? Everybody
Yeah.
can't be good at everything. Okay. Everybody's
Definitely.
story is different. Okay. My
Correct.
empathy levels could be very different from your empathy levels. Okay. So our interactions with our colleagues, with our team, with the stakeholders, with the industry differs from person to person. Okay.
Yeah.
So having that confidence, the sense of confidence to be who you are in your professional life, is something I think which people really appreciate. So the confidence levels you bring is because you know yourself really well. Okay. So I believe writing helps you develop your personal self. If you want to shift your writing towards professional impact, there are two things. A,
Hmm.
you need to write down your dreams, your goals, your aspirations to your own self in your own notebook or journal. Okay. And think big, because nobody is judging you for thinking big. Think big. Aspire for big things. If you really want to change a certain aspect of an industry or bring in some amazing transformation within an industry, write about it. Write
Yeah.
your dreams out, right? And then start listing out the steps. Start
Hmm.
listing out the steps that you are going to take to make those dreams come true. Okay. So when
Okay.
we write, we move a lot of the pressure from our brains to paper.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So a notebook, a pen is our companion. A laptop is our companion. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're able to share your thoughts with someone, something else. Okay. And that starts building your plan for the future. That starts building your thought leadership. Okay. That's number one. The second thing is, if you really want to be a thought leader in a specific industry or a specific topic, okay, it could be AI, it could be, let's say, finance, it could be chemical engineering, it could be any topic that is that appeals to you and that you believe you're very knowledgeable in, right? You start sharing that knowledge, that thought process with people through public writing.
Hmm.
Okay. So we have various platforms today, and I think LinkedIn is one of the greatest platforms that helps you express your voice as a
Yeah.
professional, as a knowledge expert, as a subject matter expert on a particular topic, right? And you're sharing your experiences, your knowledge, and your thoughts to a larger public, hence building your capability as a thought leader in the industry. Okay. So this is, again, I think this is how writing can really translate into your professional life as well. Okay. So A, personally grow through your
Hmm.
personal writing, understand yourself well, see what works for you, what doesn't. Okay. B, in terms of your professional plan, one-on-one writing into yourself on a daily basis can help you build a good plan for yourself. Okay. And the last but not the least is the public writing, where you're writing about your subject matter knowledge to a larger audience, right? And expressing yourself and helping share your knowledge with others as well, and building yourself in the professional realm. So yeah,
One.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. You did in detail actually. So one question here, which is out of the questions or the answers that you've given. Now, we've been running this podcast for last, say, this is our 115th podcast. Now, we've not gone in for putting them as a newsletters. What is your suggestion? Do you want
Sorry, can you repeat that? We have not gone ahead to
gone in writing these pointers as newsletters? Should we write a newsletter and share a link saying that this is what we discussed and that would help? A suggestion for me.
absolutely. I think it'll help.
Okay.
So we have different types of learners, Prem. So there are some of us who learn by listening, by watching,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So for them, webinars, podcasts are a great way of learning, right?
Okay.
And there are a few people who like to read a lot, okay,
Hmm.
in their spare time. So I think definitely, and it will also help you, create a kind of a repository for all the amazing information that you've shared with your audience, right, for various
Hmm.
topics.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
by all means, I think you should go ahead and do this.
Okay, I'll do it today with the podcast that we did on
Fantastic,
today.
fantastic,
I'll put a link to the podcast, this one that we have done on yesterday,
right?
and publish a letter there. We will sit together and bring out a newsletter on this podcast as well, and give our viewers the YouTube link and the Facebook link and all the social media links that we are having this podcast. It is their
Fantastic.
choice. You gave me an amazing idea, so I'll take that and start implementing it today itself. So let's see how it goes out. And with that, impact on power professional journey. You touched upon few points, but how does the act of contributing or writing contributing to gain clarity in one's thoughts, emotions, decisions, and in turn their leadership styles? What do you think on this point, Madhulika?
One of the beauty about writing is, I mean, you can choose to write
Hmm.
physically with a pen,
Yeah.
or you can choose to go on your laptop and type in, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
One of the beauty about writing is that I believe it helps you break down complexity,
Hmm.
right? So, like I said previously, we have so many thoughts in our head, and
Hmm.
it burdens us quite often, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we have a brain and we're thinking so many things on that brain, and we are constantly burdening it by saying, okay, what about this? What about that? Right? So we
Hmm.
need clarity in our life, both for personal and professional growth. Okay.
Okay.
If you look at some of the top leaders in the world, I'm sure everybody has role models here. And the top leaders are so clear about their vision. They are so clear about their communication, right? And that's why we adore them. That's why we follow them. That's why we kind of learn so much from them, isn't it? So clarity of thought becomes a very, very crucial step in leadership. And I strongly believe that writing helps you break down the complexity. Okay. Now, I mean, today we are talking of an era of simplicity, not complexity. Wherever you go, people want to simplify things, isn't it? Gone
Yeah.
are those days when more complex, more knowledge, more gyan was supposed to be more exciting, right? You're considered great, very intelligent if you brought more complexity to the table. But those days are gone now. We are in actually an amazing phase where things need to be simplified so that everybody in your audience can learn about different topics, can understand what you're trying to communicate, isn't it? So
Yeah.
hence I feel writing helps you break down the drama or the chaos which goes on in a day-to-day basis, okay, and it helps you restructure or reconstruct the way forward, okay.
Okay.
So it might seem quite tough for those who are not very used to writing, correct. I'll give you a small example. When I was a mum on the run, dropping the kids to school, going to classes, packing their bags, remembering which subjects they have, when do the exam starts. So there would be like some 100 dates in my head and some another 50 timings, right? And I
Right.
used to hold everything in my head and I used to manage everything out of my calendar was in my head, and
Yeah.
I got used to that, right? But as my professional life, as I grew up the ladder and as my professional life became more complex, more things were happening, I
Hmm.
realized that between the two things I started forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay. So it became very essential for me to calendarize my activity, to write down what I thought about. Today I might think of a brilliant idea, oh, I want to implement this amazing thing for my team, and by tomorrow it's possible that the thought was fleeting and I forgot about it. Okay.
Happens.
It happens to the best of us. So I realized that just jotting down your brilliant ideas, your great thoughts, your learnings. So if you go to WhatsApp, there is, I mean, you can type things to yourself, me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So if you come up with some great ideas during the day, make sure you record them by typing to yourself and saving it, documenting it. So tomorrow when you go back, you can rebuild it again.
Yeah.
Your ideas can be rebuilt again and you won't leave it behind in the back burner. Okay. So
True.
this is one more thing I find, that just writing small notes to your own self, putting it down in a notebook, going back and revisiting what your thoughts have been, uh, I think that can give great clarity to our day-to-day life,
Hmm.
and it helps you structure your day-to-day life better as well, because as one grows in their journey, in their leadership journey, one has to know what to take up and what to say no to, right? What boundaries we need to draw are also very, very essential. Okay. So when we write our journey on a regular basis through our journal or wherever else, it gives us an insight as to how we are evolving as human beings, as leaders. Okay. So that helps you bring in a lot of clarity into what are the things you really need to be doing as a leader, and what are the things you should be saying no to, or probably delegating to someone else. Okay, so so I think clarity can be created in lot of different baskets, different buckets in our life. And there's no perfect formula, Prem. I can't say that you need to do this for everyone. There's a different way of functioning, there's a different way of working. Okay, you might be working in a a very diverse way as compared to me. Correct.
Yeah.
So you have to fit in through writing what works best for myself, for you, as an individual, as a leader. Okay. So in short, I will say that just jotting down things, noting down things, brings in a lot of clarity, and you can start eliminating. So let's say people talk about to-do lists. It's
Yeah.
very common. Oh, I need to follow my to-do list. Okay. You might have a to-do list today of 20 things, but you might not really need to be doing those 20 things,
Yeah.
right? So how do you also cut short the unnecessary?
Hmm.
Okay, so your brain might not process all of this, but when you draw out a chart, you draw out a list, a priority list, in your notebook, it just helps you clarify or bring more clarity into what you actually need to be doing. So I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, you
Or
did in as many good words that you could put in. I think that's an amazing way that you should look at journaling. And see, I think the bigger point what we talk is, as you made a very important point, we forget a lot of things that we keep in mind. And it so happens that there would be multiple things which are hardly taking a minute or so, but we miss them out because it is not in our priority list. But when you jot them down and go on ticking them, saying that this work is done and this work is done. So when I have a book which is there right in front of me. So I've been writing that. So this is what I've been doing, testing and stuff like that.
wow,
And there's a list of things that are there pending for me to do. So there's a list that is there, and I've been ticking them out, saying this.
fantastic.
So while
Mhm.
I sit, while I'm talking to you, I'm noting some of the pointers, and I'm just keeping them for me as a journal.
So
This has been a habit for me. While one of my mentors told me that you'll forget, you made a very important point. That's what I want to refer it back to you, saying that
sure,
if you list it out, you will have that in mind. Today, you may not look at completing that. You may do only two tasks, but you know what is pending as well, and you can plan your day better.
so
That's
this
what.
is just a part of organizing that I was talking about.
Yeah.
But I think, beyond, above and beyond, writing can bring huge clarity, and I have experienced it personally in my life as well.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And if you speak to people who journal on a regular basis, who put their thoughts down on paper,
Hmm.
it many times you're advised to start by just dumping your ideas onto
Yeah.
a paper. Just
Yeah.
dump your frustrations onto paper. Just
Yeah.
dump your negative thoughts, your lack of self belief, your imposter syndrome, anything and everything, just dump it on a paper. Okay, that's a great
True.
way to start. And then you start evolving yourself over some months. Okay,
Hmm.
so from the initial phase of just dumping, okay, you start moving towards more constructive, positive thoughts in your writing.
Right.
Okay, so I thought that this worked beautifully for me, because First of all, I let go of all the garbage which was there in my head. Okay,
Hmm.
we all carry garbage whether we like it or not. Okay,
Yeah.
and then we are converting all of that into positive, constructive thoughts over a period of time. Okay, and the minute we start converting positive to positive thoughts, constructive thoughts, somehow that light bulb starts blinking faster in our day-to-day life. We start thinking of what is possible and how do we make things possible, rather than thinking, I can't do this, this is useless, or what will others say. Okay, so you're building your own persona through writing over a long period of time. Okay, so it really brings out the essence of you in the long run, and it helps you clarify what you need to do in a long, in the as a long term purpose as well. Okay, it brings a lot of self confidence to your persona. Today, if I have to go and make a speech somewhere, right? If I have been used to the idea of writing, if I have
Hmm.
been used to putting my thoughts down on paper, I don't think it'll be very difficult for me to construct a speech. Okay, I might not struggle with it. Okay, so you're preparing yourself, for tougher leadership, communication, more clear and concise thoughts as you communicate with people, in the longer run as well. So the clarity of thought starts emanating even better through long term writing.
How can writing practice be integrated in team dynamics to enhance collaboration and creativity? Because most of the meetings that we do are people listen and they don't come with a book or a note to happen, and they miss an integral part of the work that we have discussed in a meeting. And we all know that sometimes these meetings go long because we restart talking what we told yesterday again today, because that is not written and taken as a note. So what is your thought on
I think one of the things I really get impressed, when people take down notes during a meeting.
that?
Okay, it shows it projects that they're serious about listening to what's going on in that meeting, right? So personally, I must confess, during meetings I don't really write that much, I listen more. But I've seen people who take that notebook and that diary, and some very very senior people in my industry also, who make the effort to jot down the points. Okay, so I think it's absolutely great in team dynamics, because it makes the other person, so if you're in a meeting face to face, the other person realizes that you're very serious about what he or she is saying,
I
isn't
am
it?
taking some of the notes of what you're talking about, so thanks for.
Fantastic, thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, so it gives a level of seriousness to the other person. Okay,
Mm.
secondly, it also sets a tone. If my senior, or if my CEO, for example, or a very senior person writes when they engage with people, I think I, as a team member, will also want to get into that habit.
Mm.
So it's a very positive habit, it gives a sense of seriousness.
Okay.
uh, if I have to develop my team, when I look at team developing activities, right, you're right. We often talk so much.
Yeah.
Okay, we talk so much because most of the time we are giving instructions to the team.
Mm.
But if we were to just take a pause back, whether it's through writing, okay, writing an email, asking for some thoughts back in terms of what's the next progression, or what are some of the problem solving steps we can have, you get a lot of ideas through emails, through writing as well, from various members of the team who might be thinking differently from each other. Okay, so it gives them an essence, or a platform to write privately to you, without that fear of being judged, or a fear of anyone thinking that their ideas are not so good. Okay, so I think that one can inculcate that one-on-one expression through emails and through writing for the team as well. And the second part, which I mentioned in the beginning, was when we are in meetings and we write, it just shows, it reiterates your seriousness for the particular topic under discussion as well.
So there is a this one which is come on chat. I'm just bringing it. Shruti Jalal says, "Love it, Madhulika." So this is a, you see the pointer there. I see somebody putting a pointer there, and I have another comment coming in. Uh, Mamta Lakshmi, she says, "The true nature of mind, the best to be written down at the earliest. Well said. So we have two people
Thank you
putting.
so much, Stuti and Mamta.
I will put them as stars there, and we'll go on discussing some more pointers there. How how can you, or can you share a pivotal moment where writing significantly shaped your personal or professional identity? Because you made few pointers, but just on a personal note, what is that you think that changed a lot? You said one pointer. I want more detail on it.
Absolutely. And I can't forget this moment. So, as we spoke about this, right, Prem? So, as we grow, as we become adults, I think the habit of writing, unless you're professionally into writing, right? Either
Hmm.
you're a content creator or you're an author, right? But most people do not use writing as a tool over many, many years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for me, it was kind of a rediscovery. So I always keep learning things, and I started a few courses. I joined the CXO incubator community. I did a 9-week course with them, and I started realizing that I wanted to become a student again. I started writing down notes during the sessions. Okay, and I still have those books with me, and I often go back and read those notes, and they are amazing. So I think coming back or revisiting the entire skill of writing, the entire art of writing, was an eye opener for me. But at that point, I had come back from a long tenure, gap from full time career. I was
Hmm.
still not a very confident person, and I think I speak about this quite openly in a lot of forums. I was not very confident. I was not very outspoken in large groups. Okay, I was good one on one, but if you had a boardroom full of people, maybe 20 people, I think I would be very shy. Okay, and there was a part of me that wanted to express myself really well. There was a part of me who wanted recognition for
Yeah.
my thoughts, for my experiences, for my story. Okay, and that was not happening. I was still holding myself back, and
Hmm.
that's when I was working with a coach at that point in time,
Okay.
and she told me you need to start writing on LinkedIn. Okay, so for me that was the pivotal point, because for a month or two I held myself back, saying I can't write. What will people think? What will my
Mhm.
organization think? Okay,
Yeah.
suddenly out of the blue this girl starts writing posts. Okay, so with a lot of nudge, push, training, retraining, I finally put up my first post on LinkedIn. This was about 2.5 years back.
Mhm.
Okay? And people started, like, I got some great response to that post. People started putting thumbs up, putting comments. Few people in my office came and asked me, wow, that was a nice post that you wrote. We didn't
Hmm.
know this about you. I think it was about journaling or reading or something of that sort. And a
Okay.
few people came and asked me, can you give us some tips on journaling? Okay.
Okay.
So I think that pivotal moment when I let my own story out, when I let my thoughts out in the form of writing to a public forum for the first time, and I felt accepted. I felt valued. I felt that I had contributed to someone. So I think from there on, I've never looked back. It's been an amazing journey so far, writing on LinkedIn as well. I think I've got more than 300, 350 posts in different forms. And that changed my life.
You touched upon an important point. I also started with a blog about 10 years back, 2004, yeah, 2014 actually. So I was sitting at a client place in the Middle East, and somebody told me like this only, why don't you write on LinkedIn? That's where we started. I wrote about myself and my point, how things started and shaped out for me. I think that was the first post which I think we've got about 350, 400 views way back
Wow.
10 years back. And with that, I started, and I have written about 80, 85 blogs on the LinkedIn. This one, I have not done any blogging there. I keep writing, and on the LinkedIn advice pointer where we get the top voice and the top position. I write on project management, cybersecurity, leadership, and management, which I run podcasts also, like what we are doing at the moment. So this was also a turning point for me. I am not a guy who can write or read a book. That's very difficult for me. But what I eventually did was to start looking at videos or podcasts like these and start to understand. Then
Sure.
somebody told me that you, as you rightly said in the start of the podcast, few people have different ways of learning. Right? So mine was a video learning. I cannot read, so I had an habit of looking at videos or looking at audio files while I drive back to office to home to office, office to home and stuff. That's where I started looking at audio and video. But writing has been taken a back seat when compared to audio and video for me. uh, I'll pick it up as you suggested. I'll pick it up. My daughter writes a lot on journaling. She keeps
Wow.
for her. I asked her to join. I don't know whether she joined or not, but she writes a lot of things in her diary. She maintains a diary. She writes most of the pointers that we discuss, and she's shown it to me on multiple things. And it's been great that I see you telling the same thing as what my daughter says. Okay,
Fantastic.
so that is one thing. It is very nice to hear. In fact, I think I should start implementing what you both are saying. I'll start writing. Okay. Can we write a can we can writing play a role in improving mental health and well-being? If so, how?
I mean, I can't reiterate this enough. If you recall, we spoke about dumping your thoughts and ideas onto a piece of paper, right?
Yeah. Mm,
And we often going through a lot emotionally, physically throughout our lives, right? And every day is not the same. There are days when we're extremely tired. We feel negative about our own selves. And I spoke about syndrome, and it's a reality.
mm,
Even high achievers go through imposter syndrome, okay,
yeah.
where they feel that they are not good enough.
Mm,
Okay, very often, no matter how extroverted or confident one might seem, uh, individually people go through a lot of self doubts. They go through events in their life. There could be a loss in the family, or in your friend circle, or there could be a negative event, okay, in your life. So we all as human beings go through a lot, okay.
mm,
And writing, I feel, really helps unload that burden onto a piece of paper that's not judging you. Okay,
mm,
yes, I don't think writing is the only way of taking care of mental health. Of course, there are, living a healthy, balanced life, exercising, having a good friend circle with whom you can discuss and be honest about, your issues in life. But as you mature in your life, right, as we mature, I think there also has to be a personal conversation through writing that remains personal to you, that remains in your diary as well. So a part of our lives are personal, right? And I mean, nobody is really opening your diary to see, hopefully, to
yeah.
see what you're writing. So I think mental health can really get elevated through writing. Okay. And
So
a
I,
lot of the confusion that we have in our minds is also because we are not clear about various things. And that itself can be a huge burden. Okay,
mm,
so preparing yourself and elevating your chances of creating that clarity in your mind can can do wonders to your mental health. I certainly feel. And a lot of people can also get into creative writing, right? So see, any hobby, any creativity, any kind of creative activity can make you feel amazing, isn't it? So
yeah.
there are people who are into poetry, there are people who are into art, there are people who are into storytelling, story writing, right? It could be anything. It could be shairi in your particular language. It doesn't have to be only English, right? It's
Mm,
Hindi or Urdu or any other local language that you love writing in. And it can help you document your life as well. So tomorrow when you or your kids, I mean, eventually read your journal, if at all, right,
mm,
it gives
mm,
them a perspective of who their father or mother or family member or friend really is. Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so a lot of benefits on mental health, I believe, from writing.
Now that you spoke about some creativity, how can technology be leveraged to improve writing skills and process while maintaining authenticity?
Yes, that's a valid question. And in fact, Prem, I think authenticity is a crux is has to be at the crux of any public writing, at least. Correct. I think we could be more authentic when we are writing to ourselves in our journal. But when we express our thought leadership, through a public platform or through a book or through a journal or through a blog, it becomes
Mm.
very, very crucial to be authentic.
Yeah.
Personally, if you ask me, I don't use any AI tools. Okay. I don't use chat GPT. I don't, because I believe we all are humans. And if I'm projecting a piece of writing onto LinkedIn, for
Mm.
example, even if there's an error or two, it's fine. I think people associate with you better if there's a mistake or two. Okay. So I don't want to come across very, very perfect in my writing at all points
Mm.
in time.
Mm. Mm.
But yes, something like an AI tool or a correction tool, a spell check, a thesaurus, these things become very important where when you're writing a book, for example. Okay, a
Yeah.
book has to be immaculate. Probably, you don't expect to see spelling mistakes or, a sentence not really structured very well in the
Mm.
communication in the book, right? So when you're going to be selling a book or writing a book, it has to come across really professional and smart. Okay. But at the same time, it has to also convey what you are trying to say and not an AI tool. Okay, so personally, if you ask me, I don't use any AI tool. Yes, for LinkedIn specifically, if I need to do some font changes, so I think to the reader, when you have different fonts on a LinkedIn post, it becomes more appealing to read, and it also helps you as an author highlight certain points that you want to bring across more assertively. Okay, so maybe a quote at the beginning or certain pointers which need to be darker than the others or in italic. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you just go to Google and fonts and type fonts for LinkedIn, there are various websites which will give you certain boxes. So you put
Mm.
your content that you want to change the font for within those boxes, and they just give you different options, and you can just copy those and you can put it on your LinkedIn post. Okay, so this is a very, very simple tool that I use. I also use dictionary.com or thesaurus on a regular basis, and I use it on Google because many times you want to use some interesting words or you might not be able to identify the right word to use in your writing communication, and that's where I just simply type it in and I look for some interesting words in a thesaurus and use those words. Okay, so the content has to be completely authentic, and your reader can know if something is created on ChatGPT.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay?
Yes.
Readers are very smart. So, if you want authentic followers, if you want people to really look up to what you're writing and take you very seriously as a genuine writer or a blogger, try and do it yourself as best as possible using small tools.
Yeah. Now, what I do also with the uh, podcasting that I do is I speak to speakers and find out what is that they do. Try to see what can fix as a title for them with like what you said on dictionary.com and others, where
Correct.
the words match for us. Because if I have to select a title, it should be to the topic that I have as my speaker wants to. And this is a show what my speaker wants to speak. I just host it, right? We want to bring leaders who can give us suggestions on how to improve upon ourselves and their experiences. The whole podcast that we are trying to bring in is people like you giving a short podcast where we say these are the tips and tricks that you can make better things for yourself. That's the
Correct.
idea of running these podcasts. And this writing is one thing that I'll start doing because that is one thing I'm lacking. So I'll start doing that. What
That's wonderful to know, Prem.
what do you envision for the future of business writing and communication in the next decade? Because we are more into typing, copying, and pasting. So, what do you think?
Prem, I think you use the word very well. That's authenticity. Okay.
Hmm,
And I think, the level of formality in business writing is reducing to some extent. Okay,
yeah.
let's take for example generational intergenerational interactions. Okay,
Hmm,
yes, when we are writing a note or a email or a letter to someone in the professional world, there have to be um, certain manners which have to reflect in that
yeah.
particular piece of writing. Okay, so we need to continue, obviously, some of the traditional ways of writing, dear Mr. or Mrs.,
Hmm,
so and so. Okay, so instead of saying hi.
mm,
Okay. So it depends on the nature of your business, the nature of your industry as well. Okay, there are some industries where it's very casual to address each other as hi, right?
yeah,
So some of the basic rules, traditional rules of business writing, I think should be maintained. There's a
mm,
charm in that, but also I think the walls are, many of the walls which were there in terms of the formal communication are coming down now.
mm,
People are friendlier,
yeah,
they are warmer in their approach. Okay, and
mm,
that's accepted. And when we look at intergenerational interactions today, right? So today someone who is a 25-year-old who has joined my company, for example, who's joined any company, and she or he might be addressing the topmost person by first name.
yeah,
Okay, and this is in the Western culture, I think it's quite common, but in the Indian culture a lot is still in the realm of sir, ma'am, and those things are changing now. Okay, so the age gap, the communications within different age groups are becoming more casual, more more respectful in a different way. Okay, more acceptable in a different way. So I think the future of writing, of business writing, is going to become warmer in the future. I certainly believe so, right? It's not going to just be very very cold content that's written on an email. I think people will interact, because email interaction has become very very common. It's become a day to day thing. People are chatting through chat boxes within any organization as well, right?
mm,
So it is definitely going to have a tinge of warmth, I think, more authentic. People are little more relaxed to write to each other without the worry of making minor mistakes. But having said that, you have enough and more tools to correct, isn't it? So today if I go to my Outlook or I go to a Gmail, there are enough and more tools. In fact, autocorrect, suggestions, spell checks have all become a very common way of writing an
um,
email today. Okay, so that's AI for us, and we should use it to the best possible benefit.
yeah. Now with AI being part of everything that is there on the internet now, even PowerPoint it gives you suggestions. Even Google you have
Absolutely.
suggestions. Everywhere there is a suggestion when you type a
Mhm.
wrong word, so it suggests you. There are a lot of apps, as you rightly said. You have Grammarly there, dictionary is there, and inbuilt spell checks of Word, Excel, PowerPoint are already there. Google has implemented spell check very long time back, not now. So that is there now. Uh,
Absolutely.
I think when you start writing, you will get more ideas. What you are saying, I take your point there. When people start understanding what exactly you want to communicate, and also the pointer that you are saying is that garbage dumping, which is an important point, I think, which you referred, is we'll stop writing those garbage, then we'll think more which is productive and it makes you feel better and do something which makes you happier, is what I feel. So that's a very good thought process. And I think Mamta has put another point saying that wonderful, thoughtful question. So thanks, Mamta. Uh, Coming back to our point now, with the time running out, what could be the final thing, advice, or an advice would you give to professional or looking to enhance their writing skills, which is for me as well? So, what would be your advice?
I think I'll keep it quite short. I mean, I don't think I really need to kind of push forward the thought that writing is an incredible skill to have, not just for your personal growth, but for your professional growth as well.
Hmm.
Uh, Thanks to writing, because many of us might not feel very confident about writing in a certain language, for example, or very confident, about writing with our English skills, for example, right? And there
Hmm.
is enough and more AI that will help us structure things these days, so one can go ahead and write more confidently. Being able to communicate is a great leadership skill. Okay,
Hmm.
so there are two ways, there are actually three ways we communicate. One is by speaking. Okay.
Yeah.
Two is also our body language. We could be speaking something, but our body language could be showing something very different. And so the body language also becomes a great way of communication. And then obviously how we write to everybody. So it's our interactions through emails or through letters, within the company or to our clients or the stakeholders or ecosystem partners, etc. Okay, but writing can go above and beyond that. It
mm,
becomes a description or a definition of who you are. What can the world expect out of you as a professional, as a leader, as your subject matter expert, and as a person and a human being as well. Okay,
mm,
so I think additionally, writing a blog, a podcast, a post, okay, or a book, okay, can not only help you create a legacy for yourself. Okay, writing never disappears, it's there forever. Something
yeah.
that is written today will remain probably 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. And you don't know what kind of a beautiful impact you're making on people by writing your thoughts, your experiences, sharing your story out there. So I don't think writing needs to be only about knowledge. It can be
Mm,
very overbearing if we try to be too perfect with our writing. Okay, try to make it more human. The human connect, the connection with your reader is very, very crucial in writing. Okay, so it's okay to make those mistakes, but expressing yourself through writing, I think, can bring you closer to your audience. And
mm,
many of us don't feel very, very confident speaking up. I used to be one of those. Okay, so for people in the audience who's not very confident about speaking up, you are an introvert probably or an ambivert, don't find it very easy to reach out to people through your voice. You can ensure that people get to know you by representing your thoughts through writing.
mm,
And that's exactly been my journey through LinkedIn. Okay, I have not taken the liberty to write elsewhere. Maybe I will write a book in the future, I hope so. I mean, I hope to.
mm,
But it has helped me bring out who I am, and it's helped people around me, various stakeholders within the organization, clients, people who want to learn more about a particular topic, people who are going through their own struggles. Everybody goes through struggles, but many times we don't know how to come out of that. So when we have role models who write about their struggles and how they overcame those struggles, I think you are doing a great thing by sharing those stories out in the world. So do write, do share your story. You never know who you're going to impact, whose life you're going to change through your writing. And you're going to change your own self as well.
yeah.
You'll heal yourself and you'll grow. It's amazing. The journey can be amazing.
Finally, can you share a powerful example or a story that encapsulates the transformative power of writing?
I think I already spoke about it a little bit,
Yeah.
Prem, just now.
Yeah.
Okay. It's something which does not, I don't think it's something which transforms you overnight. It's a
Mm,
journey, it's a growth journey. You have to take it a step at a time.
yeah.
Okay. And there is a power in everyone's voice. Everybody's voice needs to be heard.
Mm,
Okay. And I think today social media is giving us that opportunity. It could be through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
yeah.
I mean, people use so many different platforms as LinkedIn as well. Correct.
Mm,
Twitter, isn't it?
yeah.
So so I think my only point that I want to share is you take steps to transform yourself. Okay. First, through your personal development, through your personal writing, and then transform it into public writing at some point in time. Okay. And I think there are enough and more stories. A lot of people have personal brands on social media. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way their personal brands are communicated can really be a game changer for them professionally as well, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of top leaders I know, they are doing authentic writing by themselves. Many people have not hired agencies. They do it on their own. They take the time and they do it on their own because they want to project the most authentic self as a human being, as a leader, out into the industry, the world, the sector, organization, whoever their target audience is, right? So I think writing can have transformative capabilities if you're projecting yourself authentically and as a good habit, as a consistent habit. Take your audience very, very seriously. Don't underestimate them. Be authentic, be human in front of them, and you will see your own transformative story come up. So I'll take my personal example. 2.5 years I've been writing, and obviously this year it was a dream come true to see the badge of LinkedIn Top Voice, in January. when I received that, it was like I had won the Oscars or something. I was so excited. And I still feel very happy and proud about it, because just 2.5 years back, with 400 connections, today I'm at 6,000 plus. I realized that, I mean, there's so much potential, right? And this was something I thought only others can achieve, only others can do. But see, achievements become a reality if you put yourself out there, you start communicating your own, experiences to others. It takes courage. It takes courage, and it should become a habit for you as well. Okay. So please go out, tell people your story, your expertise, your knowledge, and you will see your own transformation story. I don't think, Prem, we need to look at anybody else. I think people can have their own real, true
Yeah,
transformation stories through writing.
amazing. So, to summarize what we have discussed, we started with the reflection on how, why writing and personal clarity is important. Then we spoke about personal journey. Then we took a perspective how it will impact professional journey as well. From a CXO perspective, what are the best writing practices that we can do, integrate team collaborations and enhance the creativity? That is what we discussed. Then we spoke about how to overcome challenges, and we gave little bit about clarity on thought writing and what motivational topics or techniques can help you, and be authentic on what you're writing, and also looking at future of writing and how it can be a game changer for yourself. You also spoke about advice on aspiring writers. On the closing statement that you made was to see how it transforms the power of having the power of writing, is what we've seen as an overall podcast today, Madhulika. It's been a great session so far for me, at least. I've started to write something. I've taken notes of it.
Fantastic.
I'll start writing on each podcast that we are doing. We'll put out a newsletter and start circulating the podcast as well. I'll do it with my previous episode. I'll start with your episode also. I'll take your help in putting some things onto the newsletter.
Sure, sure. Anytime, Prem.
We'll do that. And with that, I think we are good on the time and the pointers that we wanted to discuss for today podcast, Lika. This I would like to thank everyone who joined the podcast today. Please follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are on Instagram as well. Our handler is Power of Knowing Forum on all the platforms. We hope you found this discussion valuable, and our next podcast is scheduled for tomorrow, next week, on cybersecurity leadership, the board's crucial role in protecting your digital future, on the 9th of July at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you again. Good day and bye for now, Madhulika and team. Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Prem. It was an absolute pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, Madhulika. Oh, sorry.